Hi, I'm Suzana Popovic-Montag, and I'm joined today by Ian Hull. Welcome to Hull and Estates. You are listening to episode number 632. Today, we are very pleased to be joined by Jenna Carvalho, the founder of Guardian Estate Company, and we're looking forward to a great dialogue with her about the amazing products and services that she provides. Ian, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Susanna. And hi, Jenna.
Hi, Ian.
What Susanna are going to do over the next few weeks is start a mini series that is going to highlight the importance of why we think a lawyer needs to be involved in the estate planning process. And it's, in our view, much more than just clicking on the on internet and filling in the name of the executor. The services and the sources of information that a lawyer can provide are vital. So our first guest is Jenna, because we wanted to highlight the unique services that she's able to supplement a lawyer with in regard to estate planning in the will drafting stage. So over to you, Susanna, and then Jenna can tell us a little bit about what she does.
Thanks very much, Ian. So Jenna, you've created a very interesting product that's got a very niche market, I imagine, as well. And I thought maybe we would just start by having you explain what it is that your company provides.
Of course, thank you. So essentially what we do is act as a estate services broker for individuals looking for a professional trustee, executor, attorney, anything fiduciary in nature. We find them the best solution that suits their needs. So what we compare on is cost, of course, location of administration, capacity, and expertise. And we find that clients are really benefiting from having this neutral third party search the market for a solution, and they're really experiencing, knowledge and getting to know what a corporate executor or corporate trustee does.
It's such an important element of estate planning to consider the choice of putting a corporate executor in. It's not for everyone, but in my view, it should be for more people. We see, Susanna and I see the contentious work so often, and much of it could be avoided if we had someone much more neutral and certainly more professional in terms of their abilities. So I'm more and more telling my clients to take a deep breath. Let's find out what the trust industry can provide for you in the choice of executor. It's the number one decision, in my view, when you're making a will. So, Jenna, when you get into those situations, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background and what your experiences in regard to before you started Guardian Estate Company.
Of course. So I spent 11 years working with a large trust company in Canada, administering estates, trusts, power of attorneys. And I really found that the benefits of a trust company were so large, and clients didn't really understand what a trust company could do before they worked with us. So starting Guardian Estate Company, I really saw a need in the market to sort of navigate these challenges and navigate educating the client and providing them the best option for their needs. So yes, clients tend to appoint their family members as an executor in some cases, and in some cases that's well suited. But I think a trust company would be a better option for many cases.
It's so true. And it's funny, I often will tell clients that first of all, I want them to consider a trust company as an option for executor. And then if they're going to consider it, I get lazy at that point and I say, and you can always get good pricing but it's best to go to them before. Always get them appointed before, because that's when you've got a negotiation leverage, because they want the job, so to speak, not
Right.
after you die. And so, Jenna, what is your experience in terms of, as a solicitor who's wanting to encourage someone to get into seeking out the possibility of a trust company, what steps does my client take, or what should the lawyer do to ensure that you can start your process in an efficient way?
Mm-hmm. So traditionally, a lawyer would give their client maybe 2 or 3 trust companies for the client to do the research on their own. But now, there is this option available that the lawyer can refer the client to me directly. I collect all of the information from the client, and the client only needs to tell their story once. And then I go to the various trust companies that I think would be best suited for the client to get a proposed fee schedule and proposed service agreement. And then after that, after the client chooses, then we forward the necessary clauses and compensation agreements directly to the lawyer, and the lawyer incorporates that into the necessary documents. So it really does save the lawyer time as well as the client.
So that certainly seems to work well if someone is organized enough to do the planning in advance. But I imagine there are many situations where we all know that trust company becomes sort of the last choice after someone's passed away, and the family members perhaps, or those appointed, don't want to take on the role. Jenna, what would you be able to assist clients in those circumstances as well?
Absolutely. A big part of what trust companies do is act as agent for the executor or for the trustee. And at the time when someone passes away or a trust is established, that fiduciary can actually hire a trust company to do all of the work on the fiduciary's behalf. And then the discretionary decisions are still up to that appointed executor or trustee, but the burden of the administration is really on the trust company.
And can they also take it over rather than just being an agent? Can they take on the role with your assistance as well?
Yes, that is an option as well. Most often you'd have to go to court to get the appointment changed, but most definitely trust companies are very willing to accept, new appointments in that capacity, as long as the risk doesn't get too high for them.
Of course.
So, yeah, for sure. Now, in terms of the choice, though, life isn't all about pricing. What other aspects pre-death, if I'm trying to establish the appointment of a trust company for my estate planning, pre-death, you're out there chasing down the options on the pricing side, but what other aspects of the trust company services are you looking at in that process?
Mhm. Yeah, so in addition to cost, we also look at the capacity and expertise of the trust company. Some trust companies are better suited to manage trusts that have perhaps disabled beneficiaries or Henson trusts. Some trust companies have more standard reporting procedures for beneficiaries to see their statements. Some trust companies like to or agree to take on a little bit more risk than others. So all of these factors come into play when we make a decision with the client as to the best trust company, because they're not all the same. They specialize in slightly different areas, and they do really well at what they're specialized in.
Yeah, it's so true. Some of the trust companies have bench strength in property management, for example, and others not as much. I've seen that after death, but it sure would be nice if you had a heavily weighted estate with 2 or 3 properties in it or something, to make sure that you're going to a trust company that in the current circumstances has that sort of bench strength, I guess.
Of course, yes, and also other assets in other jurisdictions as well. Some trust companies are very comfortable dealing with assets in Europe or the US, whereas others prefer just to deal with local situs assets.
Now, the services you provide, Jenna, they go beyond just, helping someone appoint an executor. Isn't that right?
Yes. So in addition to the estate services side, we also do independent estate planning services for clients of investment firms that aren't attached to, a big bank or don't have access to will and estate planner on staff. So I would meet with the client before they would meet with their lawyer to actually draft the documents and just help them make certain decisions with respect to an executor, respect to possibly setting up trusts in their wills, and just giving them some information before they have to sit down and do the drafting with their lawyer.
Well, that's great. Well, Jenna, this is really helpful. And as I say, I just think this is an really important service that lawyers need to know about, that it's out there. And it takes the pressure off the lawyer to have to worry about that, which is, in my view, the most important decision in any estate plan. And that is who's going to be the personal representative when there's a trust company involved. You're able to support the lawyer. You then presumably you charge a fee for your services to the client at that point, which is an added expense to the client. But at the back end, of course, you're able to have tested the market a bit. How does your fee structure work, and what added value do you see in that respect?
So I charge a flat fee based on the size and complexity of the file. And I'm happy to provide a quote to the client right up front before we proceed. But what I'm finding is that the clients are saving significant fees with their estate services agreement that they've entered into with the trust company. Because the trust companies are open for business, they do want to provide an accurate quote based on the types of assets held in the estate, the complexity of the estate. And so they are customizing their agreements to provide to the client. So my clients are saving some money that way in terms of when they pass away, their estate services fee is significantly lower.
I sort of look at it like accountants, they're one of the great benefits of getting good accounting advice is that you save tax, and that's your tangible return on investment. And here what you're saying to me is that you're able to save significant amounts of money on the estate planning overall process by getting a good look in the various options, financial options. So that's a big help.
Yes, that's correct. And I will mention too that the trust companies, when you enter an agreement with them during life, that agreement sticks with you until you pass away, and then the trust company charges a fee, regardless if they increase their fees in the future, which I think is amazing, because you could appoint a trust company 20 years before you pass, and in 20 years their compensation schedule at that time could be significantly higher. So that's also another benefit of doing the planning with a lawyer during life to establish the proper executor and trustee in your documents.
Well, that's great. Susanna, do you have any other follow-up questions with Jenna?
No, I think, Jenna, I commend you on this amazing service that you provide. I know certainly when we as lawyers are doing some of the research and some of the inquiries for our clients, we know how difficult it can be to gather that information in an efficient fashion. And with your expertise, it seems like you can do that so much better. So we're looking forward to working with you and to seeing how things unfold.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure having me on here and talking with both of you today.
No, thanks for taking the time, Jenna.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, Ian, for joining me as well. Should you, our listeners, have any questions, please feel free to email us at info@hullandhull.com or contact us through our contact page on our website. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.